What happens when desire curdles into disdain? When the object of our ambition, shimmering and distant, proves to be beyond our grasp? Do we acknowledge the chasm between what we are and what we wish to be, and find humility in that distance? Or do we protect a fragile ego by whispering a convenient lie? We declare the prize was never worth the chase, the goal was flawed, the fruit was sour. This act of self-preservation, this rewriting of reality to soothe our own inadequacy, is it a necessary shield for the soul, a form of quiet wisdom? Or is it the most profound poison we can ingest, a self-inflicted wound that ensures we never try, never strive, and never truly grow again? In a valley carved before memory, where the wind spoke only to stone, there existed two consciousnesses, two voices of the deep earth, Obsidian Moor and Silica Heart. They were geysers, ancient siblings of pressure and heat. Obsidian Moor was a testament to raw power. Its caldera was a jagged wound of black, volcanic glass, slick and menacing. When it spoke, the ground for miles would tremble, a deep, resonant groan that promised violence and spectacle. Its eruptions were a primal scream, a colossal pillar of ink-dark water hurled at the heavens, a defiant challenge to gravity itself. Silica Heart was a quieter thing. It was ringed by delicate, brittle laceworks of white crystal, like frozen foam. Its waters were pure, clear, and warm, but its voice was a stutter, its eruptions infrequent and apologetic. A gentle sigh compared to its brother's roar. For centuries, Silica Heart watched. It felt the deep earth pulse that fed them both, but knew the artery of power ran thickest to the moor. And its watchfulness festered. The object of its envy was not merely the power, but its fruit, the sky fire. On the coldest nights, when the air was thin as a ghost's whisper, a geyser that could throw its soul high enough into the frozen, ion-laced stratosphere could ignite a celestial aurora. A private miracle of shimmering, spectral light. Obsidian Moor painted the sky fire often. The valley would shudder, and the great black pillar would ascend. At its apex, the dark water would atomize, and for a few breathtaking moments, the sky would bleed with silent, dancing curtains of emerald and violet. A masterpiece of physics and will. Each time, a shard of bitterness lodged deeper in Silica Heart. One night, the envy became unbearable. As the final, ghostly tendrils of the Moor skyfire faded, Silica Heart began to draw its own breath. It ignored the groaning protest of its shallow chambers. It pulled on the meager heat from its core, squeezing every drop of pressure it could muster. This would be the time. This time, it would show the uncaring sky its own brilliance. The ground around it vibrated with a thin, desperate hum. A plume of steam hissed from its opening, then, with a choked gasp, a column of water surged forth. It was a clean, perfect, crystalline stream, but it was weak. It climbed, fought, and then, barely 100 feet in the air, it lost its battle. The water fractured, hung for a moment like a fistful of scattered diamonds, and then rained back down upon itself, a baptism of failure. The sky remained dark. The cold was absolute. Silence returned to the valley, heavier than before. In that silence, something new was born within Silica Heart. A slow, subtle warmth spread through its waters, a heat that did not come from the Earth's core. It was the heat of a burning, protective lie. The skyfire is a vulgarity, a thought murmured through its currents. A garish stain on the purity of the night. Loud. Obnoxious. A desperate scream for attention. The murmur grew stronger. My water is clear. It is truth. It does not need to climb so high, to stain itself against the darkness. It falls back to me, nourishing the crystals, building true beauty here, on the ground. A quiet, lasting integrity. It looked upon its own pale, glistening perimeter, no longer seeing it as a sign of weakness, but as proof of refinement. It looked upon the jagged, powerful caldera of Obsidian Moor and saw not strength, but coarseness. The dark water was not potent, it was impure. The spectacular eruption was not an achievement, it was an ostentatious display. Silica Heart had found its peace. It was the serene, unshakable peace of a settled narrative. A peace purchased with a single, foundational untruth, that what it could not have, it had never truly wanted. We all have a Silica Heart within us. It is the voice that whispers when we are passed over for a promotion, when a love is unrequited, when an ambition dies on the vine. It reframes our failure not as a lack of effort, diligence, or courage, but as a sign of our superior character. We tell ourselves we aren't above the pettiness of corporate ladders, or that the person who rejected us was too superficial for our depth. This defense mechanism, this cognitive dissonance, protects the ego from the sharp, cold truth of our limitations. But it comes at a cost. By devaluing the goal, we absolve ourselves of the responsibility to strive for it. We trade the possibility of growth and authentic achievement for the hollow comfort of manufactured superiority. The real tragedy is not in failing to touch the sky, but in convincing ourselves the sky was never worth reaching for in the first place. At Filiarium, we believe our stories are mirrors. The tale of Silica Heart asks us to look closely at our own contentment. Is it born of genuine peace and self-acceptance? Or is it a carefully constructed fortress, built to keep us safe from the terrifying, beautiful, and honest struggle for what we truly desire? The wisest journey is not always the one that avoids failure, but the one that faces it with unflinching honesty. For it is only in that truth that we find the power to one day, truly, reach the sky.